A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I want A plus English because it's so much fun. English education for you and everyone, so come along. Learn some grammar, learn a phrase, learn something new every day. Learn the A plus way. Hey, it's time to start the show. Are you ready? Good, 'cause here we go. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I want A plus English.
Hello everyone, welcome to A Plus English. I'm Mike.
I'm Chickling.
My inner voice was talking to me. All right, sorry, didn't want to get distracted there, but yes, we're still talking about the inner voice in your head. I guess we could also say your inner voice in your head, because everyone has their own. If you're hearing my inner voice in your head, whoa, something weird is going on. And I bet you that's not really happening. But anyways, yes, you have your own inner voice. And as we said yesterday, your inner voice can kind of keep you on track, keep you organized, keep you doing the right thing, helping you remember things and stuff like that. If you're like Ethan, Evelyn's brother yesterday, he had more like an inner photo gallery. Or something like that, an inner picture file. He was seeing things more than hearing things, but Evelyn talks to herself sometimes in her own head. Is she cuckoo or crazy? No, not at all. She's perfectly normal. Everyone does this, and as we said, it can have a lot of good benefits.
Right.
But we also mentioned how your inner voice can do more than just help you remember stuff. It can help to motivate you and lift you up when you're feeling down, or it can also make you feel bad and kind of keep you down and criticize you and be your frenemy, your friend enemy. Who is this person really helping me in the best way possible? And that, of course, can happen too. But remember, it's your mind. You probably have a lot of ability to control it and to not listen to some of the things you're saying that are not helpful. So you have to be aware about this. What can you say to yourself when you're feeling down to make yourself feel good?
Just make sure don't say anything negative to put yourself down. Say something like, you can do it. I know things are hard, tough right now, but no matter what, you can do it. That's what I tell myself all the time.
That is fantastic. And also, of course, when you do something good, your inner voice can, I always think of it this way, give yourself a pat on the back. Like if Chicolin did something, I'd say, well done. You can do the same thing to yourself. Your inner voice can do that too. And it would be probably better than just walking around going like this all the time. What are you doing, Mike? Is there a mosquito? No, I'm just saying, good job, Mike. You can say that in your mind. It's kind of like having a coach or a motivator, or you can be your own best friend in a not weird way. Yeah. All right, let's get to the article.
The inner voice in your head. Warm-up question. What can you say to yourself to make yourself feel good?
People organize their thoughts in many different ways. Some people see images in their minds, while others hear a voice. In psychology, there is a word for this. Hearing an inner voice when you think is called inner speech. Inner speech begins at the age of 2 or 3. This is when children start using language to think. Each child develops their own way of thinking to themselves.
All right, so let's talk about our minds and our brains and our thoughts. There's 7.8 billion people in the world. So there's around 7.8 billion brains in the world, hopefully. And they're all different. As the article says, people organize their thoughts in many different ways. This is kind of a funny thing about people. We often are surprised that other people often think in totally different ways than we do.
Yeah.
Right? Because we often think that the way we think is normal and, this is what I do and it works for me. So I guess other people do the same thing. No, not always. A lot of it is very, very personal and unique to the person. So that's a good thing to be aware of. But there are general things, there are sort of common ideas that are very useful and kind of universal as a way of saying many people or almost all people kind of do this, but everyone is a little different. As it says, some people see images in their minds. That would be like Ethan yesterday, while others hear a voice. That would be more like Evelyn and more like us.
Yes, 对，有些人的脑海里会看到画面，有些人会听到声音，因为每个人想法的那个逻辑是不一样的。Like the famous inventor Nikola Tesla, he could imagine machines in his mind, like watching a movie.
Really?
But like authors, like when they write, they often hear their ideas as their inner speech. 也就是他内心的独白. So before they write something down, they actually have already had something in their head telling them what to write.
Yes.
But some people can't picture anything in their mind at all. Everyone is different, and that's called 心盲症, 叫 aphantasia. 对对对，就是心盲症. So everyone is different. I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, it is absolutely interesting. And I know there's musicians who can hear sounds as colors and things like that too, right? So there is a lot of unique stuff going on in people's minds. Can you remember the first time you noticed your inner voice?
I think so.
Wow.
I think I was like 3.
Wow, very young.
Yeah,
you can remember that long ago.
I was like, I've always been a huge fan of music, and I was like so little. I remember every time before I wanted to sing, I would have a voice inside of my head telling me something like, "Hey, let's go do something. Let's sing that song.
Oh, okay.
Let's put on the song that Grandpa likes."
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
kind of
I
like
remember
your friendly
this.
playmate. Yeah. Oh, very, very cool.
Yeah, it's cute.
All right. Well, in psychology, apparently, so that's the study of the mind and how people think. In psychology, there is a word for this. Hearing an inner voice when you think is called inner speech. Speech is talking. Voice is just the sound you make when you're speaking or when you're producing speech. So it's basically the same thing, but we don't think of it as a voice. We think of it more as the words you're saying. Inner speech begins at the age of 2 or 3. So often very much before many people will even remember or be aware of it, but it's a very early thing that develops long before we can do a lot of other things as babies.
所以 inner speech 呢，内在独白通常是在2岁或3岁的时候開始出現哦。So inner speech is like talking to yourself silently in your mind. So it can help you make plans or remember things. It's kind of like the same but different in different forms. 对，我觉得蠻厲害的。
Yeah, back to the article. This is when children start using language to think, right? So babies have baby talk at around the age of 2 or 3. They start to make words and stuff and start to organize the world in a way that they can express it or speak using language. Each child develops their own way of thinking to themselves. And like a lot of things about kids growing up, everyone reaches this stage at different times. Some kids might do it when they're just 2. Some kids it might take till they're 3 or 4 or even a little bit older. Everyone's different and their brains grow in different ways. But that's a usual time kids start doing it, which I guess makes sense, right? Because if you can talk out loud, you can probably make the same words and sounds and ideas in your brain.
对，所以其實這個時候是孩子開始用語言思考的時候，因為每個孩子就會發展出自己獨特思考的方式。So little kids often talk to themselves out loud, like saying, "I'm putting the block here." And later they keep those thoughts inside their heads. So if a child speaks 2 languages, maybe Mandarin or English, they might think in different languages depending on what they're doing.
Absolutely, yes. That is definitely something that happens, and that's great. If your brain can be that flexible and jump from language to language, that is probably a very good thing for you in the future. Now, what does your voice sound like? Do you hear yourself, or is it a different voice?
Sometimes I hear my mom. And I hear my dad sometimes.
Oh, wow.
But mostly if it's just me talking to myself, it's always me.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's always you talking to yourself, which of course makes
Not
sense.
bipolar. I'm just kidding.
Of course, that makes sense. It's your voice, so it probably sounds like you. If it sounded like, I don't know, someone very different from you, that would be weird.
Yeah.
There are several reasons for inner speech. It can remind us of things and encourage us. You might think things like, "Don't give up," or "You can do it." However, your inner voice can also be negative. Don't let it bully you.
All right, back to our article. Now, there are several reasons for inner speech, okay? We've talked about a couple of them, so it makes sense that there are several. There's more than one reason or why we use this inner speech or have this inner voice. We've talked about this one. It can remind us of things and encourage us. So those are two helpful things, reminding you so you don't forget stuff, you stay organized, and encourage you, be your coach, your supporter, your good friend that's helping you do a good job and feel good about yourself.
所以内部语言有很多的用途哦，它可以提醒我们事情或給予我們鼓勵。
All right. Has your inner voice ever encouraged you during a difficult time?
Yes, yes. I talk to myself all the time, and like every time I'm feeling like, this is the end of the world, I would just say a bunch of positive things to bring myself back up. Like, it's okay, everything is gonna be fine.
And do you ever get negative with yourself and
Yes.
criticize yourself? And
Sometimes it's inevitable.
Yeah, I do that a little too often. It is a thing that you try to want to avoid, but sometimes you have to be honest with yourself.
True.
And if you make a big mistake, it's not really helpful to go, "Good job, it's everyone else's fault."
True.
when it's actually your fault. So you need to be honest, but like a friend who's always complaining about you, you don't want to do that because that's not really a good friend, right?
Yeah.
Back to the article, you might think things or say things in your own voice. You might think things like, "Don't give up," or "You can do it." "Good job, me." That kind of stuff.
对，就是跟自己说不要放棄，你做得到。
However, your inner voice can also be negative. Don't let it bully you. Don't bully yourself.
Right.
That's healthy advice.
So I think it's crucial to be mindful of this, like negative thought in your head. You should learn to challenge or silence those negative thoughts.
Absolutely.
Because I think our inner voice is there to help us.
Exactly.
Harm us.
Everyone's mind is different, and some people can have problems with their mind, which is a different thing, and they might need help. But yes, you generally can control your thoughts. So if you find yourself kind of going down the negative route, you can stop yourself and say, "I shouldn't think like this.
Yes.
Think about the good things I did today." Because often, you get stuck on that one mistake you made or that embarrassing thing you did, and you forget about all the other good stuff you did, right? So that is something you should always be conscious of, as you said. Be mindful of your mind. Now, what if it's too loud?
Well, you maybe just take deep breaths and just try to do something to calm yourself down.
And focus on your successes.
Yeah.
Right? Because sometimes even just getting out of bed and going to school or doing the basic things you need to do, that can be a success when you're feeling down, when your life is difficult. You don't have to be fantastic every day of your life. Just being a good version of you is often good enough.
Yeah, but always don't forget to reflect on what you've done. I think it's nice to think about, what I've done wrong, what I've done right, and just find a perfect balance.
This actually kind of goes together with things we've talked about before, like keeping a diary, keeping a journal, writing down the good things you've done, because sometimes it can be easy to focus on the bad things or, the things that didn't work out, but there's so many other positive things to think about.
Yeah. Language 就是语言的意思，你可以去呢講母語，母語的英文叫 native language。比如說 his native language is Spanish, but he also speaks French fluently。他的母語是西班牙語，不過他也很流利的說法語哦。那我們再看另外一個句子 Yuna spent years learning a new language from the local people. She speaks it well now. Yuna 花了数年跟當地人學習新的語言，現在她說的非常的流利。那我們看到另外一個動詞 to develop 它是發展的意思。我們比如說要養成一個習慣，英文可以說 to develop a habit. It's important to develop a habit of reading every day. 每天去養成閱讀的習慣是很重要的。或者是說Beth's chess skills developed as she played the game more often. Beth 的這個西洋棋的棋艺呢，因為她很常的去下棋，就進步了。那我們在文章中也有看到 own 這個字，這邊是形容詞，當自己的意思。但是我們當動詞，我們會用一個片語叫 own up to doing something or own up to something， 代表承認的意思。For instance, he owned up to his mistake and apologized to everyone， 代表他承認了自己的錯誤，跟大家道歉。那我們再看一個當自己的意思。I got my own car last year. Before that, my family shared one car. 我去年買了自己的車哦，但是在那之前，我们全家人是共用一台車。那最後的一個片語是 give up， 它就是放棄。大家記得它的三態是 give, gave, given。所以我們在講 give up， 我們講到壞習慣，你要丟掉壞習慣，英文可以說是 give up a bad habit。比如說 she gave up smoking to improve her health。那我們再看另外一個句子。Keep running, don't give up. You're nearly at the finish line. 繼續跑呀，不要放棄，你快要到終點線了。OK， 所以大家不要忘記複習今天所有的單字。Right now, let's go to our review time activity.
Review time.
All right, we have a few new words to go over before we say goodbye. Those words, just to remind everyone and ourselves, were language, develop, own, and we also had the phrase give up, to give up, to quit, to stop doing something. Let's play a quick game of fill in the blanks.
Okay.
How do you feel about that? Is that
Great.
okay?
Yes,
right.
I love
it. Is your inner voice also saying great, or is your inner voice going, oh, God, no. Anything but fill in the blank.
Maybe. But
Be
yeah,
honest.
Yes.
I can look in your ears and hear and see your inner voice.
80%.
Okay, all
sure.
right. Well, let's say something like, learning a blank on your blank can be very difficult, but don't blank. You will blank more skill if you keep practicing.
Learning a new language on your own can be difficult.
Can be difficult, but don't blank. You will develop if you work hard enough. Oops, I gave one away.
Thank
you will
you
blank.
so much.
You will.
You will. Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't
There you
give
go.
up. But don't give up
Yeah.
no matter what you're doing. Because you will develop a new skill.
Yes, you will develop your skills. Very well done.
Oh my God.
My inner voice is saying, well done to you.
Thank
and
you.
My little mistake wasn't so terrible because, who cares?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you back here soon. Take care of
谢
yourselves
谢大家，今天
and
的节目
yourselves.
就到这边啦。如果想跟我们真人老師一對一線上討論，歡迎加入空中家教。
Yes, take care of yourselves and make sure your voice takes care of yourself, and then you can take care of other people too.
Bye bye.